Oh, hi. Good morning, Mr. Mayor. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Juliet. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much. So, two questions. Back to the beaches. I'm sure you're expecting people to turn out, even though you're talking about just people in the neighborhood to come. But what are the specific crowd control plans for people arriving to the beach? Will the fences definitely be up? Will it be police barricades to that effect? Will there be limits to who can get to the beach or on the boardwalk? And the second question is, the city budget includes anticipated raises for teachers, police, et cetera. Given the costs of battling this virus, are you considering a freeze on proposed pay increases?
Okay. So on the beaches first. So the fencing, again, available, but we don't want to use it if we don't have to. When you put up the fencing, you're talking about cutting off access to the sand across the board. Don't want to do that if we don't have to do it. Fencing will be there if we need to implement it, but my goal is to see us not have to implement it. Remember, Juliet, this is how we start. Normally beach season begins on Memorial Day, so in a week. And what's quite clear is we're not in a position to start now. We just talked about the state indicators, the city indicators, by every objective measure. We're not there yet. That does not rule out that later in the beach season we might, do well enough and show enough progress to do something different. Still with some real restrictions, and you've seen the state restrictions on beaches everywhere. There's a whole lot of things that will not be allowed at any beach in the state. But, we're holding out the hope that at some point we could open up, and we're training the lifeguards and we'll be ready. But we have to be ready to go up or down the scale depending on what's happening. So the fencing will be there, but it won't be implemented at first. We're hoping everyone just listens to the rules, follows the rules. No swimming, no sports, no gatherings, no parties, just common sense, observe social distancing. If you walk on the beach, do it for a limited period of time, get back home like everyone else. In terms of enforcement, NYPD will be out, Parks Department will be out. Obviously, first and foremost, to help make everyone remember, don't go in the water. You're not supposed to go in the water. It's a dangerous situation to ever go in the water when there's not lifeguards present. So there'll be a constant reminder of that. If anyone tries to get in the water, they'll be taken right out of the water. So we want to keep people moving. We want to make sure nothing gets too crowded. Don't want to see the boardwalks crowded. Just classic social distancing. I guess I shouldn't say classic because it's something we've only dealt with for a few months, but it feels like it's been a long time. We understand the basic concept of social distancing and crowding, and the NYPD will always work to avoid crowds and gatherings. So they'll be out, and parks enforcement will be out. But we're not putting up police barriers or any of that stuff initially, because the message to people is it's not beach season. Meaning we're in a different reality. We're in a pandemic. We're in a global health crisis. It's not beach season like normal. So don't go to the beach. If you live in the surrounding communities, and you're used to just going for a walk on the beach, that's one thing. But don't travel to the beach, because we don't want to create that dynamic where people do non-essential travel on subways, on buses, which is normally how so many people get to the beach. We're not doing that. Let's keep it simple. But Juliet, we will, if we need more enforcement, we'll put it there. If we need to take tougher measures, we will. And if conversely it goes really well and people listen to the rules, we'll keep things more open. And then maybe, let's pray, we get to the point later on where we can open up things more and maybe even have part of the beach season again. On the city budget, we've got a stark choice ahead, Juliet. Our goal always is to help working people. This is what I came here to do. I don't want to take away from working people. I want to protect people's livelihoods. I want to protect their income. And if I get the help that we all deserve from the federal government, we'll be able to do that. This city's been the epicenter. I mean, I don't know what some people are thinking in Washington. This is the epicenter of the crisis for the whole nation. We also are one of the key places in all of America for sparking and building the entire American economy for the good of all. And if we're back on our feet and if we're unable to provide basic services and we can't get the job done, there's not going to be recovery here. And I think in that case, it will hinder recovery everywhere else. So it all comes down to the stimulus. If the stimulus is the right kind of stimulus, if it's done in time for our budget in June, we're going to move full speed ahead to provide all the services we provide, have the personnel we need, provide people with the incomes they deserve. If there is no stimulus in time, or it's nowhere near the amount we need, then a whole series of really tough decisions will have to be made across the board, affecting all agencies and all personnel in a variety of ways. So we're not there yet, but in that instance, everything will be on the table. But let's accent the positive. Let's go fight for the stimulus to be the right thing, the thing it should be, and that's what will allow us to support our workforce and support a strong recovery here.
Next, we have Julia from the Post.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Mayor and everyone on the call. 2 questions. The first, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to get your reaction to an article on today's cover about out-of-state nurses who were brought in to help the city run the adult daycare center on Roosevelt Island. They told us patients had horrific bed sores, unchanged diapers. There were even feces smeared on the walls. So your reaction to that. And then a second, little bit unusual question, but I know you went to high school with Patrick Ewing. I wonder if you watched the Last Dance series and what you thought about it. If not, what have you been watching as an escape?
I did go to high school with Patrick Ewing. He was 2 years behind me in high school, and I used to think I was tall until the day I was walking down the hallway in high school and Patrick Ewing walked by for the first time. And definitely my ego has never recovered since. And he's an amazing player, an amazing person. I have not seen that series, though. So what Charlene and I do is we tend to latch on to one show and see it through. And we, for a few, 6 months or a year ago, we went through The Wire, which we had watched originally. We went through it again, the whole 5 seasons. We went through Treme, the whole, I think it's 4 or 5 seasons. Then I've been public about this fact. I don't have to always be high-minded. We did Empire. We watched all of Empire. Not always the most high-minded show, but in many ways a very intriguing show. And now we are watching Billions, which we never watched when it first came out. So we're going through that from the beginning. An incredibly well-acted and well-written show. So that's where we part of the day get to take our mind off of something. On this very serious and this very when you think about the situation at Kohler, and I have not read the article, Julia, but I've had it summarized to me. I think about the human reality, which is any senior who's in any facility. These are our elders. These are our family members. These are people who deserve the maximum respect and the best care. Now, it's important to note, and we'll get you all this background, Kohler is a very well-respected institution. It's been recognized nationally as a quality senior facility. Recent inspections were favorable. There's a lot of very positive things that historically we've known about Kohler. If something went wrong in the middle of this crisis, I want to get to the bottom of it. So we're going to investigate what happened here. I've talked to Dr. Katz. We are shoulder to shoulder, and we want to know exactly what happened. So H&H is going to do its own investigation. If the state is investigating, we're going to absolutely work with them. We want to get down to the bottom of what happened here. Anybody with information should come forward. So it's important that these nurses come forward to our investigators and the states. I'm glad they talked to you because we want all the truth to come out, but we need them to talk to our authorities and the state's authorities. And if it's proven that anything like that happened, that's unacceptable. Yes, it was in the middle, from I understand the timing, the worst moment of the COVID crisis. Our systems were overwhelmed. There's a lot of staff out. Things were in real tough shape for everyone in every facility that handled healthcare. But still, if something happened that shouldn't have happened, there has to be consequences. It has to be dealt with. So we will do that for sure. But again, this facility historically, as recently as October, Newsweek ranked the Kohler Senior Nursing Facility as the 5th best in New York State. And the most recent state inspection was November and was positive. So, if something went wrong, we want to know exactly what it was. We want to find the exact individuals who are responsible, and then there, of course, will be consequences. And much more immediately, we have to make sure that everything now, the care there is the best it can and should be for every person there, and that there's nothing like that happening anymore.
Last two for today. Next is Andrew from NBC.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Mayor, I wanted to ask about schools. Last week, you and Mike Mulgrew didn't seem to be on the same page about the timeline for making a plan for the fall. He said that the teachers need to know within 2 to 3 weeks whether the plan is full reopening, hybrid reopening, or online learning. So I'm wondering, are you closer to making a decision or a recommendation on schools? And also, have schools been complicated by the emergence of this child inflammatory syndrome?
Yes, of course. We need to know a lot more about this syndrome and what it means as we make our decision about schools, unquestionably, Andrew. Again, I'm speaking as a parent and also as someone who believes the most important role I play is to protect people's health and safety, and particularly our families, our children. I'm very, very concerned. So yes, that information will absolutely be factored into any decision we make. The question of the timing, we communicate, our team communicates with Mike Mulgrew and the team at the UFT and also the Administrators Union, CSA, all the time. And we'll keep communicating with them. I haven't heard anyone state a particular timeline in what is obviously an ever-changing environment. So we'll have that conversation, but I say very clearly the best way to make a decision of this magnitude is when we have all the facts and when we know what it's going to take to ramp up. We will define that timeline. The Chancellor will define that timeline. Now, I think where everyone's on the same page is health and safety first. Plan A is unquestionably open the schools as normal because that's what's in the interest of our kids and our families. But we have to make sure kids are safe, family members are safe, educators are safe, staff is safe. We have to make sure that we are confident of that. For any reason we're not confident of that, then there's a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. You can do all sorts of things from alternating days, staggered schedules. You can just stick with the pure online learning, which is nowhere near what we'd like it to be ideally, but still has been a very, very admirable effort in reaching so many kids. But it's May, for God's sakes. This is a decision on something that's it's less than 4 months away, but not much less than 4 months away, and we will make the decision at the right time.
Last for today, we have Dave Evans from ABC 7.
Hey, Mayor, I wanted to ask you if I could just your overall view of this weekend, how things went and how things might change going forward. The things that jump out at me about social distancing from the weekend, Domino Park, it seemed to go pretty well, those circles. They were interesting. I think we counted more than 6 people in some of the circles. Then also, I think that restaurant in Chinatown that was serving takeout and drinks, people seemed to congregate outside without